Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our series on unraveling the new energy equation. I'm Bella, and I'm thrilled to have you with us for episode 4. Today, we're diving into something truly intriguing: emotions and their role as a form of energy. Now, when you think about emotions, you probably think about the joy of spending time with loved ones, the sorrow of loss, the thrill of adventure, or the nerves before a big event. But have you ever considered emotions as an actual form of energy? Energy that can be quantified and has a tangible effect on the world around us? It may sound like something out of a science fiction novel, but trust me, this is rooted in cutting-edge research and exploration. You see, emotions are not just abstract experiences. They have physiological and psychological components that interact with our bodies and our environments. And what's more, understanding these interactions in the context of the energy equation could provide profound insights into the interconnected nature of our universe. In today's episode, aptly titled Emotions as Energy, we will delve into how emotions can be quantified and how they integrate into the energy equation. We'll also explore the astonishing implications and applications of emotional energy in physical systems. This is going to be a truly eye-opening journey as we bridge the gap between human emotions and the fundamental energies of the universe. Make sure you're settled in, maybe grab a notebook, and let's get ready to unravel the mysterious interplay between emotions and energy. Let's start by understanding what emotions really are. This word is thrown around a lot, but what does it actually mean? Emotions are complex psychological and physiological responses to certain stimuli or events. They can arise from our thoughts, interactions with others, or environmental changes. So emotions are essentially our internal reactions to the world around us. They are integral to how we experience life and make decisions. But what makes them so complex? Emotions involve various components such as physiological changes, like an increased heart rate, hormonal changes, or muscle tension, expressive behaviors like smiling or frowning, and conscious experiences, such as the feeling of happiness or sadness. Now, emotions can be both fleeting or long-lasting, and they often play a significant role in our mental health, relationships, and well-being. They help us navigate social situations, motivate us to achieve our goals, and even enable us to enjoy art and entertainment. Imagine life without emotions. It would be like watching a movie with no sound or color. Pretty bland, right? But here's where it gets even more intriguing. Emotions don't just exist in a psychological realm, they have physical manifestations and can affect our surroundings. Think about how the mood in a room changes when someone enters either really happy or really upset. That's not magic, it's energy exchange. Emotions are, in essence, a form of energy. So in this episode, we are going to explore how this energy can be quantified and how it integrates with the energy equation that we have been discussing throughout this series. Buckle up, because this is going to be a captivating exploration. Stay tuned for the next segment where we'll dive into how emotions can be measured and what this means for the world around us. Now that we understand what emotions are, let's dive deeper into the physiological and psychological aspects of emotions. When we experience emotions, there's a lot happening inside our bodies. Our heart rate may increase, our palms may get sweaty, and we might feel a surge of adrenaline. These are the physiological responses, the bodily changes that occur in response to an emotional stimulus. For example, when you feel scared, the amygdala in your brain triggers a series of reactions that prepare your body to either fight the threat or run away. This is known as the fight or flight response. And then there's the psychological aspect. This involves our thoughts, feelings, and the meanings we attach to our emotional experiences. For instance, if you've ever felt butterflies in your stomach before a big presentation, or felt your heart race during a scary movie, that's your mind interpreting these physiological changes as nervousness or fear. The psychological and physiological aspects of emotions are deeply intertwined. Our thoughts can trigger emotional reactions, which in turn can affect our bodies. And likewise, changes in our bodies can influence our emotional state. Think of it as a feedback loop. This loop plays a significant role in our decision-making, behavior, and well-being. What's fascinating is that emotions are not just personal experiences. They can also be shared and perceived by others. Ever walked into a room and felt the tension? Or felt uplifted because someone else was in high spirits? That's emotional energy at play. Now let's bridge the gap and talk about how emotions, as a form of energy, interact with the physical world. This leads us to the intriguing concept of emotions being quantified and incorporated into the energy equation. We've explored what emotions are and the physiological and psychological aspects that accompany them. Now let's step into uncharted territory. What if I told you that emotions could be thought of as a form of energy? When we think of energy, we usually think of something tangible like electricity or the heat from a fire. But what if emotions, those intangible feelings inside us, could also be seen as a form of energy? Some researchers and scientists, including our very own Brandon, have been exploring this intriguing idea. By looking at emotions through the lens of energy, we can better understand their impact not just on ourselves, but on the world around us. Think about it. When you're feeling particularly happy or motivated, you might say you're full of energy. Conversely, when you're feeling down or sad, you might feel drained of energy. It's more than just a figure of speech. Emotions have frequencies and vibrations similar to waves of energy. They can be measured, transferred, and have the potential to affect matter. It's similar to how sound, a form of energy, affects particles. The emotions we experience can create ripples, not just within our own body, but beyond. This leads us to the concept of emotional energy and its implications in various fields like psychology, medicine, and even physics. Emotional energy can influence our health, relationships, and environment. Positive emotional energy has the potential to heal, while negative energy can sometimes be destructive. With this understanding, let's delve into the next segment where we'll discuss the revolutionary work in quantifying emotional energy and how it can be incorporated into the new energy equation. This is the nexus where science meets emotions in a way never explored before. We're now going to dive into the fascinating world of quantifying emotions. But what does it mean to quantify something as intangible as emotions? Quantifying emotions means assigning measurable values to emotional experiences so that we can analyze and study them systematically. So, how do we do this? Let's explore. Psychological scales and assessments. Psychologists have developed various scales and assessments to measure emotions. These are often questionnaires that ask individuals to rate their emotional experiences. For example, the PANAS is a widely used scale that assesses positive and negative affect. There are also specialized assessments for anxiety, depression, and other emotional states. While these assessments are invaluable in clinical settings, they are subjective and rely on self-reporting. So let's look at more objective methods. Physiological measurements. Our emotions often manifest physically, and we can measure these changes. For example, when we are excited or anxious, our heart rate tends to go up. Skin conductance, which measures the electrical conductance of the skin, is another way to gauge emotional arousal. Advanced brain imaging techniques can also help map emotions in the brain. These physiological measurements are objective and provide a biological perspective on emotions. But now, let's delve into something cutting edge. Introducing a novel quantification methodology by Brandon. Brandon, the researcher we've been talking about, has been working on a groundbreaking methodology to quantify emotions in a novel way. His approach combines psychology, physiology, and even physics to develop a comprehensive model of emotional energy. Brandon's method proposes that emotions can be represented as waves with varying frequencies and amplitudes, much like how we understand sound or light waves. He suggests that by understanding these waves, we can better understand the impact emotions have on ourselves and the world around us. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Brandon's work is part of a larger paradigm shift in understanding emotions as a form of energy that can be quantified and studied scientifically. We just discussed the various ways emotions are quantified. Now, let's dive into how this emotional energy is represented and incorporated into the new energy equation. Parameters that represent emotional energy. Brandon's research suggests that emotions can be represented as waves, similar to sound or light waves. Emotional waves have parameters like amplitude, frequency, and wavelength. For instance, the amplitude of an emotional wave could represent the intensity of the emotion, while the frequency might relate to how often the emotion is experienced. This wave representation allows for emotions to be incorporated as a form of energy in the new energy equation. But how does this fit into the equation itself? The energy equation has terms for different forms of energy, including kinetic energy, potential energy, and now, emotional energy. Emotional energy is included as a term that accounts for the waves representing emotions. This integration is revolutionary, as it adds a whole new dimension to our understanding of energy. But how do we actually measure it? Discussing the units and measurement scales. In physics, we're used to measuring energy in joules or electron volts. But what units can we use for emotional energy? Brandon's research proposes a new unit for measuring emotional energy. He calls it the Emoton. Emotons help quantify emotional energy based on parameters like amplitude and frequency. The scale considers both the psychological and physiological aspects of emotions. By integrating emotional energy into the energy equation using emotons, we now have a holistic approach that combines traditional physics with a more profound understanding of human emotions. So far, we've discussed what emotions are, how they can be quantified, and how they are incorporated into the new energy equation. Now, let's delve into the theoretical basis for how emotional energy might interact with physical systems. How emotional energy interacts with matter and fields. Traditionally, when we think of matter interacting with energy, we think of particles like electrons absorbing or emitting energy. In the context of emotional energy, imagine these waves of energy interacting with matter, perhaps influencing the behavior of particles like electrons. According to Brandon's research, emotional energy could affect the vibrational states of molecules and even possibly alter chemical reactions. Similarly, emotional energy might also interact with fields such as electromagnetic fields. These interactions could, in theory, alter the properties of these fields. This brings us to an even more intriguing question. Could quantum mechanics play a role in these interactions? Possible role of quantum mechanics in emotional energy interaction. Quantum mechanics deals with the behavior of particles at the smallest scales. It's a realm where particles can behave like waves and vice versa. Brandon's research suggests that since emotions are being represented as waves, they may have quantum properties. This could potentially mean that emotional energy could be subject to phenomena like quantum entanglement, where the state of one particle becomes connected to the state of another, regardless of the distance separating them. While this is still theoretical and needs more empirical data, the possibilities are truly fascinating. Imagine if our emotions could have quantum-level interactions with the world around us. This could revolutionize how we understand ourselves and our place in the universe. In our last segment, we explored the theoretical basis for the interaction of emotional energy with physical systems. Now, let's look at some real-world examples and experiments that have been done to explore this fascinating interaction. Historic and contemporary experiments. Throughout history, scientists and researchers have been curious about the impact of emotions on our physical world. For instance, take the early 20th century work by Wilhelm Reich, who claimed to have discovered a form of energy called orgone, which he believed was closely connected to human emotions. Fast forward to today, and there's an array of contemporary experiments being conducted in various fields, from psychology to biophysics, that explore how emotions might interact with matter. There's also the famous Global Consciousness Project that has been looking into how human emotions and consciousness may be interconnected on a global scale. The project has gathered an intriguing dataset suggesting that global emotional states may have an effect on random number generators. These examples represent just a glimpse of the diverse research in this area. Now let's delve into the groundbreaking work by Brandon's own experiments and findings. Brandon, as we know, is a multifaceted researcher whose interests encompass mental health, physics, and more. In his lab, Brandon has been conducting experiments that focus on the interaction of emotional energy with physical systems. One of Brandon's experiments involved measuring the physiological changes in plants when subjected to various emotional stimuli. Brandon found that the plants exhibited measurable responses that correlated with the emotional states of human participants in close proximity. This finding suggests that emotional energy can have tangible effects on living organisms. This is just the beginning, as Brandon's work continues to evolve. This area of research is paving the way for new insights into the interconnectedness of our emotions and the physical world. We encourage you to join in on the conversation, as solving this would change the world for us all. We've talked about how emotions can be quantified and how they interact with physical systems. But how does understanding emotional energy actually change our perspective on physical phenomena? Let's dive in. Rethinking the boundaries. Traditionally, physics has been seen as a domain separate from emotions, which were considered to be solely in the realm of psychology. However, by recognizing emotions as a form of energy, we begin to blur the boundaries. This opens up possibilities for interdisciplinary approaches, allowing us to analyze physical phenomena through a new lens. Emotional energy and environmental influence. Think about natural phenomena like weather. Some researchers have theorized that collective emotional energy might influence weather patterns. While this idea is still in the realm of speculation and hypothesis, the mere possibility prompts us to reconsider how interconnected our emotional states might be with the world around us. The quantum connection. And let's not forget quantum mechanics. As we have discussed, emotions may have a quantum aspect. This could imply that emotional energy is not just something abstract, but can have real, measurable effects at the smallest scales. It might even play a role in the strange and wonderful phenomena of the quantum world. Reimagining human interaction. Finally, understanding emotional energy could profoundly affect how we view human interactions. Knowing that our emotions have energetic properties and can interact with the physical world may encourage us to be more mindful of the emotional energy we put out into our surroundings. As you can see, recognizing emotions as a form of energy holds the potential to revolutionize not just science, but also our understanding of the world and our place in it. So, we've seen how recognizing emotions as a form of energy can change our perspectives. Now let's get practical. What are the potential applications of understanding emotional energy in various fields? Mental health and therapy. First, in mental health and therapy. Emotions are central to our mental well-being. By understanding emotions as energy, therapists can explore new methods for helping individuals manage and balance their emotional energy, possibly leading to breakthroughs in treatments for mood disorders, anxiety, and more. Human-computer interaction and AI. Moving on to human-computer interactions and AI. Imagine computers and AI systems that can not only recognize, but also respond to our emotional energy. This could revolutionize interfaces, gaming, and even help develop AI therapists or companions that can empathize with human emotions. Social dynamics and group behavior. Now let's talk about social dynamics and group behavior. When a group of people are together, their collective emotional energy can create a certain atmosphere. Understanding this energy can help in managing team dynamics, improving workplace environments, and even facilitating conflict resolution by acknowledging the energy aspects of emotions. Potential technological innovations, harnessing emotional energy. Last but not least, what about technological innovations harnessing emotional energy? The possibilities here are vast. Imagine devices that can harness the energy of your emotions to power themselves or use emotional energy for data transmission. These applications are speculative at the moment, but who knows what the future holds? As we can see, understanding emotional energy isn't just a theoretical endeavor. It has the potential to bring about real, tangible benefits across multiple domains, emphasizing the importance of continuous research and validation. Which brings us to the next point, the importance of continuous research and validation. As scientists and curious minds, we should always remain open to new ideas, but also be diligent in validating them. This theory opens up a new horizon, and with it, a responsibility to rigorously test, validate, and if necessary, refine or rework the assumptions and conclusions. This is how science progresses. It's a journey, not a destination. By acknowledging limitations and encouraging constructive criticisms, we create a culture of innovation, validation, and ultimately, understanding. We've covered a lot of ground today, so let's wrap things up. We started by understanding what emotions are and how they have both physiological and psychological aspects. Then, we delved into the exciting idea of emotions as a form of energy and how they can be quantified. We touched upon how this emotional energy is represented in the new energy equation and its theoretical basis for interaction with physical systems. We also discussed real-world examples and experiments showcasing these interactions, including the inspiring work by Brandon. We explored the potential applications of understanding emotional energy across various fields. And of course, we acknowledged the potential criticisms and limitations of this theory, emphasizing the importance of continuous research and validation. Our journey is far from over. In the next episode, we'll be diving into how the physical components like mass, momentum, and volume interact and balance with the non-physical components, such as consciousness and emotional energy, within the new energy equation. We will also explore real-world examples of this interaction. It's going to be a mind-bending ride, so keep those thinking caps on and continue to explore with an open and inquisitive mind. Before we go, I want to hear from you. Share your thoughts, experiences, or even questions related to emotional energy in the comments section below. Let's create a community of curious minds. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more exciting episodes, and hit that bell icon to get notified. See you next time.